if we are seeing progress on our big lifts, we probably have enough volume in our training. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about this. And that's a very different answer, I think, than what people are used to. We're always discussing, how much volume do we need? Do we need that? Is it that historic 10 to 20 set range? Is it something absurd like Menzer saying you could get away with one work set per week, again, which has been largely debunked in the literature, I think, other than it does give some growth. People forget that. Is it this extreme volume that everyone's talking about in the studies that possibly maybe we could glean 0.5% more progress over a period of time, particularly in a lagging muscle, And here's what I'm going to say. It really varies, and truth be told, I have seen clients do 6 to 8 sets a week who made good progress. And when I say good progress, I mean, squat over 400 pounds, completely drug-free, bench 300 plus drug-free, be able to crank out 10, 15 pull-ups, right? In the same lifters. So I've seen this. I've also had clients who do respond really well to large amounts of volume. But here's the thing that I'm going to say. What's going on with your big lifts? What's going on with your top sets? Because that's where most of our muscle growth comes from. And again, I want to be clear, I do curls. You guys see me do a lot of curls. I'm like really adamant about my curls right now because I need that stuff. I need the arm development. So again, I'm not saying that these things don't matter. What I'm saying is it's much harder to track progress on these smaller movements. And so here's what I would say. Are you progressing with any degree of regularity compared to your level of experience and your weight gain? Okay. If you are, you're probably training enough to gain muscle on your big top sets, on your best sets, on your big exercises. Okay. And I think that's an accurate way to look at it. And when we say progress, what do we mean? That you were able to cheat and scream and yell and hitch one more rep on a deadlift? No, because that doesn't count, does it? Like you didn't get any muscle growth from that. We all know that, right? Hopefully everyone understands that. The reps that you cheat on, when you start getting close to failure, you're bouncing, half repping them. You're not getting any bigger from that. You're just not. So check your ego. What I mean is, are you actually progressing? Okay? Are you progressing? And I mean, here's how low we could take that progression. You saw me do some weighted chins right there. Let's say you've been stuck at 5 reps or 8 reps, and you stick at the bottom there, and then you go for a rep and you get it halfway up. If you're an advanced lifter versus if you just stuck at the bottom before you failed, we can come down to did I get half of a rep on a really serious lift with good form? Okay. That I couldn't get before. Well, that's a good sign. It's a good sign. But this is the point. If you were progressing on these big lifts, you probably are gaining muscle. Your volume is probably high enough to gain muscle. You are seeing progression. And progressive overload is indicative of muscle growth. Okay, now does that mean we don't care about our smaller movements? No, it didn't say that, because they may be what's helping feed it. Okay, in other words, let's say your curls aren't progressing. Let's say you've been pushing those chins, but you're a really advanced lifter, and you've gotten a hair stronger on those shins over a couple months. But let's say your curls have been stagnant, but you're doing them strict, but you're hitting failure at pretty much the same point, whatever, 12 reps, 13 reps, or whatever, with 80 pounds, whatever it happens to be, right? But you're not cheating it up. Okay. But is the chin progressing? The answer is yes. So those curls may be feeding it. Furthermore, your biceps have subjected themselves to more fatigue. In other words, if your big lifts are going up, your isolation movements might be stagnant. But did your total workload for that muscle group increase? Of course it did. So what do we mean? Another example, you're bench pressing, okay? Let's say that you have picked up a couple reps, with 275 or 315 on your bench, your best sets. But your tricep extensions that you do afterwards, your skull crushers, laying extensions, whatever you do, JM press. Say your tricep exercise has been kind of stagnant, but you're seeing slightly stronger lockouts on the benching. Are your triceps working harder? In other words, if you've picked up that extra rep or two, session to session, have your triceps getting more overload? Yes. They may be more fatigued by the time you get to the smaller movement because you've already used them harder. But if you're seeing an improvement in that lockout strength, you're seeing some progress, your triceps are probably getting bigger and stronger. You probably are doing enough volume. You probably do have enough overload for it. Okay. When do we say, okay, it's not working? You're getting weaker and you start missing. Like, let's say you start missing lockouts. Let's say you could do, 7 reps with 275. But then you start having some sets where you're missing the lockout on rep 6. You can't quite lock it. The triceps are giving out. Well, that might be a case of your triceps may not be growing. You may not have enough tricep volume. Or you've overtrained your triceps excessively to the point where they're not recovering. Now, that could be a factor, but you already know which of those two it is. You don't need me right now to tell you, hey, that 20 sets of triceps is too much. Your triceps are getting weaker. You already know that you're doing a stupid amount of volume. You already know that. If that's happening and you're doing no tricep work, or one token set, that's also not progressing, or that has regressed, then you have your answer. Okay? So we can take these big lifts that we do and we can assess, are we having enough volume even with our isolation work? We can assess these things looking at what our performance is doing. Especially if our big lifts work every muscle in the body. Look at the 5 lifts I'm doing through this. Every muscle in the entire body is getting worked. You could look at the weak points or where you're getting stronger and weaker on any of these 5 lifts and know if your shoulders are growing. You know if your quads are growing. Okay? All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.